Hi everyone, this is Jake here. I'm a member of the account management team here at Zacks, and today I'm going to be taking you through our basic tutorial of how the screener tool works, a couple tips and tricks that might help you run these screens a little smoother. Then we're also going to look at some of our predefined screens. Those are screens that our team has gone in and created for you that you can take metrics from and apply yourself. So to jump into it, we're going to start by entering in a few of our own metrics here and creating a user-defined screen. We're going to be taking an income-focused approach. So we're going to be including dividend yield and market cap here. And to start us off, I'm going to be entering in the Zacks Rank. So that's our timeliness score, that time-tested flagship ranking system here that we run at Zacks. We're going to do that under the screen rule section here in the top left. And I can do that by first entering in the name of the metric. So in this case, of course, Zacks Rank. And you'll notice when I type in Zacks, I get a list of results here. I can see the Zacks Rank here towards the bottom of that list. You can go ahead and click on that, and that's going to bring it into our screen rule here. So that's one way of doing that. Another way of finding the metric we want to include here would be to click the Browse button in the middle of the screen. And when you select that, you'll notice that brings up a full library of metrics, any of which can be included in our screen here. We have them broken down by category on the left, and I know Zacks Rank to be under our quantitative scores category here. Notice it at the top of the screen there. Then from this point, you can just go ahead and check the box next to whatever metric you'd like to include. So I've turned that on. No need to save anything at this point. Should be locked in once that checkbox is selected. And then you can go ahead and click X in the top right. And you'll notice that pulls it into the screen rule section here in the top left, kind of similar to how we selected it when we searched by name. And once that's entered in here, you can move on to the operator here in the middle of the screen. You'll notice that's a drop-down menu, so we've got a few options for you to select from. I'm going to select equals to, and I'm going to finish this off by selecting a value for my metric. In this case, I'm going to select a 1. That's going to pull in those strong buy picks, so only the top of the top when it comes to Zacks Rank. And once I have that entered in, you can go ahead and select Add on the right-hand side of the screen here. And you'll notice that first metric is pulled down to the criteria section. So that is now locked in. And you'll also notice that our list of results is populated here towards the middle of the screen. I've got 236 results that fit that first criteria entered in. So 236 tickers that are currently a Zacks Rank of 1. So now that that's locked in here, the next step would be to go ahead and add another metric in here. It's going to be the same process as before. It starts by entering in our metric, selecting the operator, and then choosing the value. And that's what each metric is going to come down to, or each stage of this process is going to come down to, is entering in the metric, selecting the operator, and then selecting a value, and then adding it in. So next I'm going to add in our dividend yield metric. I've got that selected now. I'm going to choose the operator. I'm going to continue with greater than or equals to, and then I'm going to select my value. In this case, we'll go greater than or equal to 3% dividend yield. And then, of course, we'll select Add here on the right-hand side. And you'll notice that our list of results updates here. So we've got 41 tickers that fit both of those criteria. And then at this stage, I can go ahead and run the screen. And that will show me each company that fits those criteria. We'll get our full list of 41 results here. And to save a little time, I went ahead and saved a screen. So I'm going to go ahead and find that by selecting Open Screen Library in the top left here. You'll notice that brings up a separate library here. And at the very bottom of our category list on the left, you'll notice there's a Saved Screens section here. And then I've got an income screen saved. And I can select that and choose Open. And that'll populate with our full list of criteria. That'll be very helpful when you want to go in and run a screen continuously. Say you want to pull up the same list of criteria a week later, a month later, see if anything's changed. That's going to allow us to go back in without having to enter in our metrics manually each time. And you'll notice market cap is our final metric here, and we get a list of 16 tickers that fit all 3 of those criteria. And that is the basic process for creating your own custom screen here. Entering in those metrics, selecting the operator, choosing the value, and then building on upon those criteria that we've entered in. Now, one thing we can do at this stage is save the screen. There's going to be a few places we can save those screens. The first being that screen library that I opened up before. You can do that by selecting Save Screen in the bottom right here. In this case, since I've already saved the screen, I'm just going to get a message that lets me know it was updated successfully. In the case that you haven't run the screen before, it will prompt you with a field to enter in a name. You can just go ahead and give it a name and then select Save, and it will populate in that screen library that we were looking at before. Now, another place we can move these screens to, specifically the results of our screen, is the watchlist monitor. And we'll have a separate video going into more detail on how to use the watchlist monitor. But for our purposes today, we're going to be going ahead and saving that as a watchlist. So that will take our results here, our 16 tickers, and move it over to the watchlist monitor. And you can do that by going ahead and selecting Save Selected as Watchlist on the right-hand side of the screen here. You'll go ahead and give it a name. I like to use today's date. And then you can go ahead and select Save. And now that is saved, and I can go ahead and click over to my watchlist monitor, and I will see those results listed out as a watchlist. Now, the last option for saving these screens to other areas is going to be the export option in the top right, or options button in the top right. You'll notice that in the very top right hand corner of the screen here, if I select that drop down, I'm going to get some options to export it to Excel as well as to PDF. So if you're looking to export it as a table to a PDF or get that data moved off of the platform here, you have options here for that as well. So now that we've covered some of the basics of creating your own screen here with Advisor Tools, we're going to take a look at some of the predefined screens available to you as well. And those can be accessed using the Open Screen Library button that we used before in the very top left-hand corner of the screen. Click in there, you'll notice above Save Screens, we've got a number of categories listed out for different strategies of screens you can run here on the platform. Now, these have all been created by our team for different objectives. Today, I'm going to be selecting one of the growth-oriented screens, specifically this growth stocks strategy here. You'll notice that for each predefined screen, there's a nice description of what you're going to find in that screen on the right here under Details. I like what I'm seeing, so I'm going to go ahead and select Open. And you'll notice it clears out everything that I've created before, and it's going to update with those predefined criteria that our team went in and loaded in beforehand. You can take this list as is. You can take the metrics from this list and apply them to your own screens. And then a nice option here is we can take the predefined screen and edit it ourselves here. And you can do that by clicking Edit as User Screen in the top left here. And what that's going to do is it's going to take all those criteria that you saw listed out there and bring them into our screen editor. Now at this stage, I'm going to cover a few of the tips and tricks available to you within the screener tool here. And we're going to start by taking a look at how to edit criteria that we already have entered in. So the process is the same for predefined screens and user custom screens. And we can do that by selecting the pen and paper icon under criteria here next to whatever metric we'd like to edit. So in this case, I'm going to be adjusting the Zacks Rank. It looks like we currently have that metric equal to a 1. So we're just pulling those current strong buy companies. You can go ahead and select the pen and paper icon here. That's going to bring the metric up to the screen rule section. And at this stage, all we're going to need to do is update the operator and the value. So no need to enter in the metric again to the screen rule section. We're just going to be updating the operator. I'm going to choose less than or equal to. And then I'm going to update the value. So I'm going to enter an A2. That's going to pull in those strong buys and buys. Lock that in by selecting Edit on the right-hand side of the screen. And you'll notice under criteria that Zacks Rank metric is updated to include our new operator and value, and the search criteria or list of results has been widened. So we have a larger list of tickers to work with here. We'll go ahead and select Run Screen at the bottom here, and that will give us our full list. So that is the process for editing any of the criteria that we already have entered in here. Another nice tip you can focus on is going to be related to our display metrics section on the right here. Now, this is going to come in handy whenever you'd like to add a metric in for viewing, but not necessarily exclude it from your search results. So let's say I'd like to include price here, but I don't necessarily want to exclude anything based on that current price. I can go ahead and select Add Metric on the right here. I can find my metric. I'll do that by searching for price. You'll notice price current is listed at the top here, and you can go ahead and check that box on. That's going to bring it into our display metrics. Again, no need to save that at that stage. You can just click X once that checkbox is selected, and you'll notice price current is brought down to the bottom of our display metrics list here on the right. And then finally, I can lock that in by running the screen again. So you'll select Run Screen at the bottom here. And you'll notice price current is now displaying, so we can take a look at how those compare. But we're not excluding anything using that criteria section. So that concludes our tutorial here. We took a look at creating that user-defined screen, that custom screen using our own metrics here. We took a look at some of those predefined screens that our team here at Zacks has gone in and created for you. And then, of course, we took a look at some of the tips and tricks that are going to help you adjust those screens that you've created here, in that we edited some of our screening criteria and added in some display metrics here. So thank you for listening today. If you do have any further questions, feel free to reach out to your designated account manager, as we'd be more than happy to help you in adjusting your own screens here on Advisor Tools.